Good evening and many thanks for joining us on Joy Asonye Live this beautiful evening. And I have to apologize, we are starting a teeny bit late, but we are ready for you. And today we'll be talking about the 10th leadership election, 10th National Assembly leadership elections and expectations from Nigerians. Congratulations continue to pour to Senator Godswill Akpabio, who has emerged as the president of the Senate, and Jibrin Barau, who won the deputy president of the upper legislative chamber, and also to the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, who won the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and Honorable Benjamin Kalu, who is going to be Deputy Speaker of that chamber. Congratulations continue to pour to those individuals. However, what are indeed the expectations of Nigerians, especially as we have over a couple of weeks now been talking about how Nigerians want nothing but a legislature that would indeed hold the government accountable. That checks and balances that is necessary is what Nigerians expect. But apart from that, what else is, we'll be discussing that with Comrade Shuaibu Muhammed. He's a political analyst. His citation, like I was telling him before we came on air now, his citation is quite long, but I'll try to get to it. Comrade Shuaibu is also the Director General Northern Initiative for the Promotion of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that's NIPAT. He's the Director Planning, Research and Strategy Presidential Support Committee. He's also the North Central Director Planning, Research and Strategy, Asiwaju Shetima Presidential Agenda. The Interim National Secretary, National Coalition of Independent Support Groups for BAT and Shetima. He is a member, National Advisory Council, Amalgamated APC Support Groups, and also the Kogi State Coordinator, Tinubu Campaign Group. I must welcome you. It is obvious that you are a deeply rooted APC member and one that really supported, because I got to learn a concept that it wasn't all APC members that supported President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but you were in the crux of it all. So thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you.
I know I did not mention all your all the capacities in which you work, but I hope I have done justice to who you are.
You have done indeed justice. I remain my humble self, Comrade Muhammed Shuaibu. And you see, the issue of National Assembly leadership has become one of the hitting points of this present administration after the emergence of Tinubu as the President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. There's a lot of approaches, a lot of school of thought to the 10th National Assembly. Why? Because some people are coming to say they are going for the position of the Senate President. They are just coming to the National Assembly first time comers, and a person like Kiari. But if you talk of Akpabio, that emerged at the end of the day, is a front runner.
You're jumping the wrong. I want you to tell me how you felt when you heard the news that he indeed had emerged. I want you to tell me if this was a surprise to you personally or you saw it coming. I know for a fact, as an insider, that you worked really hard for his emergence. But did it come as a surprise considering the battle that came before it?
You are talking of Senator Godswill Akpabio. I know him very well, because he's the National Coordinator of Presidential Support Committee right from 2019, when we have been running under Buhari. He's somebody that I have known that with the way he's coming, right from the primary, when he's solely the first person to declare that he's going to step down for the presidency, from that point, you could be able to know that this man, which is popularly referred to as an uncommon leader, an uncommon achiever.
Yeah, uncommon governor. I remember
governor.
When he was
so
governor of
there is a belief that
State.
there is something coming, which is preparing for from that point, because it's highly futuristic, Akpabio. So to me, the emergence of Akpabio as a Senate president is not by surprise, because I've been part of the people planning for this very day. But the challenge we got before his emergence is really something to talk about.
Now I am happy you have worked with him way before his emergence as senator. Do you think he was indeed serious about his becoming the president of Nigeria, or it was just a political clout, as a lot of people have called it over time?
You see, Akpabio, he has an uncommon approach to the political dispensation of Nigeria, because it's somebody that is well prepared for leadership. So, and to me, when he declared that he is stepping down.
No, I mean, before his declaration, did you sense in him that vision, that need to actually run for president? Because I know he ran for president. He was an aspirant at the time, and he garnered support. But he was first. He was the very first person to, like, Nigerians. He says, step aside. That's the English I've been hearing these days. However, was it a political intrigue, or he indeed wanted to run for presidency and thought he could win?
He has really prepared to run for presidency.
He did have the plans for Nigeria.
He did have the plan for Nigeria, because his 3-point agenda, uniting Nigeria, security and economy, have really encompasses all what Nigeria needs at this very moment. The problem confronting Nigeria presently. He's well prepared for it. But with the kind of person he is, coming on board, seeing that, yes, there is somebody that is leader and his respect for leadership, seeing Shuaibu as the leader of the party and vying for the same position he's vying for. So he decided to subpedal, giving Shuaibu that respect. At the nick of time. At the nick of time.
Why at the nick of time?
Why? Because
he could have stepped aside way before going to that podium.
No. You see, one thing is certain about Akpabio. When he look at the whole scenario, people coming for that presidency, he see that there's going to be a serious challenge in front. You could remember when he said he has about 1,000 plus people going to vote for him in that primary. And these people are very ready to vote for him in that primary.
Okay.
Which may give him an edge. But because of the respect he has for Shuaibu, he decided to say, I drop my ambitions for a leader of our party who has ruled a state, that state, even when that state was starved, during his administration as the governor of Lagos State, he was able to garner around and generate a revenue that could be an example to not only Nigeria but Africa as it is today. Because Lagos State is a model to Africa as a continent. Because if you see what is going today, because most of those things he has planned, he has set in motions, a kind of projections for the state to take the state to a level that we are seeing today as one of the most developed states in West Africa sub-region. Is something that is not just a plan of overnight. Yeah, it's somebody that Tinubu is somebody that has been preparing for that leadership to that very period. So Akpabio, seeing a person of that caliber, say there's no need for him to go into this race. You understand? And he respects Tinubu as a leader of his party. Then he decided to say, let me go. Let me step down. Or step aside, as you said.
That's what Nigerians call it these days.
In the Nigerian palace, they used to say, okay, step aside. That starts after IBB step aside, but you could not come back. So, in essence, Akpabio today finally has emerged as the Senate President
Right.
of the 10th Assembly of Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I am very excited to witness this very period.
I know you would be excited.
I would be excited.
Exactly, because you worked for his emergence.
I worked for him. I worked for him even without, at the end of the day, I don't want to even see him. I go underground.
Of course, I happen to know some of the initiatives and programs you've had to enact just so that people get to garner support among senators. I have an inside information as to that. However, let's talk about why he was anointed or endorsed by the president in the first place. Could that like you said earlier, that stepping aside or stepping down for Bola Tinubu be some sort of compensation to what he is being anointed, or that the president indeed saw the need for a South-South senator to emerge speaker, or rather president of the Senate, because it was necessary, it was what would unite Nigeria, and this particular person has that doggedness, that agility, that blueprint and the credentials necessary to man the position.
You know, Tinubu as a person is a liberal democrat. I call him liberal democrat because he always liked to compensate people that really have the understanding of the configurations of Nigeria as a nation. You have seen that Akpabio putting his antecedents on book. You've seen that this man, from all his walk of life, have really demonstrated capacity, have demonstrated leadership that is uncommon. Because if you look at when he was a commissioner, before becoming a state governor, then coming to Senate, later become the minister of Niger Delta, and again coming back again as Senate, he has really shown that consistency of leadership. If you should meet people that have worked with him direct, they could be able to tell you that this man is going somewhere. Tinubu have seen it before us, because when he dropped his candidacy from the primary of the election, that has pointed to him as somebody that he can work with.
Comrade Muhammed, you still have not answered. Is this some compensation from the president?
You
stepping aside to because he's stepping aside, set the pace for several other aspirants to do the same.
Follow suit.
So is this compensation?
It's not compensation.
Right.
It's what he see that this man has the kind of attitude, had the kind of mindset, had the kind of leadership style that if he could mount that arms of government, the legislature, which is the second arms of government, they can work in synergy and deliver Nigeria from its present doldrum or what we are experiencing today.
Okay.
Because as you see, our economy is in shambles
exactly.
to some extent. And Tinubu needs somebody that has the understanding of the economy, that has been in the system for a long time, that can be able to parley with him to deliver Nigeria from its present situation. And Senator Godswill Akpabio have that cloud. And the party itself, looking at it, that let this person come from this area, have shown that, because if you look at his performance at the state level during the election, he was able to deliver more than 100,000 votes from that state for APC.
For APC.
This is a state that is well known as as a PDP state, very strong PDP state. But Akpabio was able to garner enough votes for the presidency from that axis. That is a plus for him.
So is that compensation?
So he has worked for it.
He has worked for it?
Akpabio has worked for becoming the Senate President of the 10th Assembly today.
Okay.
Yes, because of that performance from that state, because he's the strong man from Akwa Ibom.
He is. That's no doubt. He is the strong man from Akwa Ibom.
Also in that party, APC, as a governor. He's the one that brings the former governor of the state after him. You understand? But because he sees something in APC that is in line with his philosophy of governance, he has to leave PDP to APC. Today, his emergence is not by surprise. It's something that
it is not by surprise, Comrade Muhammed. However, it gave us an idea as to where we stand in our democracy. While a lot of people said it was a good thing, it means our democracy is deepened enough, we saw people who refused to follow the APC endorsement and the APC zoning formula. What does that say about the party at the moment? Are we going to have a contemporary APC where people can actually stand up for themselves and go against that political or the political parties' zoning formula and have their will done, while the others are applauding that move as deepening democracy? Others are saying, is the APC losing its grip on its members?
You know, in every human endeavor, people cannot have the same opinion on issue.
Yeah, naturally. But not when you are in a political party that's supposed to have an ideology that set the pace.
Yeah. You see, there are different ideas that form APC. APC is like a point of convergence of people from different school of thought to form that very party.
True.
And in this kind of situations, you cannot do away with that kind of thinking. People definitely will have their thinking, because people that are clamoring that it shouldn't be zoned to South-South have their own good reason.
They do?
Yeah. Why? Because I could be able to meet one or two of them, and they are telling me that the president is coming from South, and the Senate, which is also a strong third position in the country, is also going South. But I discounted that idea, because as it is presently, the issue of religion, we know we cannot do away with it. We can, to some extent, say no, but we cannot do away with it politically. The president is a Muslim, and the vice president is a Muslim. How could you think that in this instance, that the Senate president, who is number 3, also should come from that point of view, that perspective? It's not going to augur well for the nation, because we are looking for a point where everybody in this country will be carried along in this government.
If everybody is to be carried along, why was the Southeastern not considered?
This is a point that
I'm just saying, if we indeed are trying to have governance of unity and competence, why was a Southeasterner not considered? There are ranking members in the House in the Southeast. These are people who have been clamoring for principal positions in governance, not just in the Senate, but they have tried to get the presidency. Apparently that has not worked. They have cried out for marginalization. I'm sure you too must have heard a lot of people say that the Southeast is marginalized, and we're thinking that this 10th Assembly will consist of a Southeasterner lead it.
You see, if you talk of marginalization in Nigeria, I'm from Middle Belt. If you look at what is happening now, I'll start shouting, I'll start crying out that we, the Middle Belters, also are marginalized. Do you understand? But
the Middle Belt, David Mark is of the Middle Belt. You just had a Senate president. In this government, okay.
But that is not the point we are looking at now.
Right.
Because when Tinubu came on board, he was talking of government of national competence.
And not unity per se.
And not unity per se. And if you talk of competent, we can find competent in any zone in this country. But the circumstances we find ourselves demanded that let the Senate president come from South-South. The Igbo people are good citizens of this country. They have done their best for this country.
Right.
Because if you look at the business aspect, the commercial aspect,
They are valuable people.
they are very industrious people. People of, if you talk of competent, they are. But time will come when, because as it is now, we can't have two presidents. We can't have two Senate presidents. We can't have two Speaker of the House. It is time that demand that these people should be there today. I know tomorrow is also very pregnant, that we cannot predict what will happen.
Exactly.
So it can swindle the result is tomorrow. So what, to me, I will appeal that I will just tell them that they should please take it easy, that this government has good plan for everybody in this country.
What are the plans that will
The
make
plans-
them take it easy, even if they are not necessarily being seen
the
in
plan,
those
this
positions?
look, just a government of 3 weeks. The whole thing is unfolding. We have some first-class ministerial appointment that is coming on board. We don't know how the president is going to distribute those ones. So they should just
You're
support
an
that.
insider, and you can't sit
no,
here.
no.
I'm sure my viewers this evening are asking. I mean, if you are saying we don't know where the president is going to to zone or nominate his cabinet, you shouldn't say the same.
No. It's something that we cannot preempt the president at this very moment, because.
But you work really closely with the president. What's his body language? I like to put you on the hot seat right now, but it's time to go for a very short break.
If you say talking, okay, good.
Yeah, we'll go for a short break and then return. And when we come back, we will open phone lines so that you too can contribute to the conversation. We're talking about the 10th Assembly and expectations of Nigerians. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. This is still Joy Asonye Live, and we are discussing the 10th National Assembly and expectations of Nigerians. And I'll just go to our guests who has been discussing this with me, Comrade Shuaibu Muhammed. He's a political analyst and the many other things he does for this government. Well, we are now taking the conversation to whether or not, when you look at the combination, there's the Tajuddin Abbas, there is Benjamin Kalu, and Mr. Senator Barrow. And I'm asking, when you look at that, does it give you that optimism? Because the biggest problem Nigerians have is when you see a president endorse a Senate president, it gives you that question, it incites in you the questions. Are we going to see a rubber stamp administration? Are we going to see loans being approved indiscriminately? Are we going to see the proper checks and balances that is necessary for our democracy?
My sister Joy, if you see rubber stamp is just a concept which is not real to some extent. But if looking into the combination of the present 10th Assembly with the President,
Right.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if you say rubber stamp, I think that is a big mistake. Because Akpabio has worked in the Senate. If you go, you look at his antecedents on some of those bills that he presented before President Buhari in the 9th Assembly. That is the first term, 2015 to 2019. You know that Akpabio is really work, and is not going to be a rubber stamp leader. If you watch what his acceptance speech yesterday, he hold it to 3-point agenda: security, economy.
Okay, we have a call at the moment. I'll just pick the call, and we hear from the questions people might have. Okay, that caller, we could not connect immediately, but you can still call the numbers on your screen to contribute, ask questions on the program. Like I said earlier, we're discussing the 10th National Assembly and expectations from Nigerians. So you can call to tell us what you expect this 10th Assembly to be. Is it like the 9th Assembly, 8th Assembly, 7th Assembly, and all other assemblies we've had? But I'm sorry I had to cut you there to pick that call. But if you can continue, you were talking about
I'm talking about
Akpabio and how he has the credentials to actually run a strong assembly.
A strong assembly indeed. Why? Because he has been a governor of a state. He has been a minister of Federal Republic, manning a very strong ministries like Ministry of Niger Delta.
The ministry where we have Nigerians will never forget the off your mic scenario.
My lord.
Off your mic, Minister. Honorable Minister, off your mic.
A lot of scenario that passes through that period. But what I'm clamoring on is, this is somebody that has been a chief executive of a state, like Tinubu himself. There's a kind of good combination in that perspective. If you also see the vice president, is somebody that has manned one of the strongest states in northeastern Nigeria that has been under serious insurgents. But he was able to transcend that period. I'm just trying to digress a bit to tell you that the combinations of these people are not people that you say they are rubber stamp people. They are people that have demonstrated competence and capacity at their various leadership role before now.
Right.
So with that, the expectation I know is high, but I know these people have what it takes to surpass and make Nigeria a better place for all of us.
You say they have what it takes. However, Nigerians are asking, okay, we have a call at the moment. Let's just quickly pick that call and hear from there. Hello, thanks for joining us. Hello.
Thank you, Joy. And hello.
I can hear you clearly. Go ahead.
All right. Joy, thank you so much for this presentation. It is all right, Joy, thank you. I want to take this opportunity to thank Shuaibu, Muhammed, and you, Joy, for presenting this wonderful episode. Actually, I'm so happy that government is taking another dimension in restoring the hope of Nigerians.
Please go ahead.
Yes.
You didn't tell us your name and where you're calling from. And please kindly lower the volume of your TV set because we can see it, we can hear it interrupting.
Okay, yeah, you can hear me very well now.
Very well, yes, please go ahead.
Yes, my name is Francis. I'm calling from Abakaliki, Ebonyi State.
My pleasure. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Joy. I want to actually appreciate the federal government on the step they are taking now in trying to bring totally a restoration of Nigerian hope. Nigerians, their hope that they have lost on the previous administration. Current Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Godswill Akpabio, is a very good man. Irrespective of the fact that there are some allegations of, EFCC cases here and there, but he's a man that is determined to really work hard to restore the hope of Nigerians in terms of these economic degradations we have been having over time. And with people around Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the current president, I believe the dividend of democracy is going to be delivered. Only thing I'm asking Nigeria government to do is to make sure that this time around that they didn't fail Nigerians. We have our hope very high. Insecurity is a problem we have. Our economy is very bad. Nigerians now are suffering so tremendously. And I wonder how a situation like this, how we get to this level where we are at the moment in Nigeria. But this current government, I believe they are going to work hard to really restore the lost hope Nigerians, have lost over the time. Mr. Shuaibu, Alhaji Shuaibu, you are a good man. I like the way you are analyzing the whole thing.
Thank you,
but
my brother.
the thing I'm not comfortable with is a situation where you say that basically it is like a payback period for the efforts that Gospel Party have actually made, in order to bring about the successful election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. No, this is no longer a time when everybody will be thinking about payback period. What we're talking now is how we can be able to pilot Nigeria from out of this condition we find ourselves currently. That's the major thing. If Gospel Party is competent, there's no problem with that. Ahmed Tinubu competent, no problem with that. Everybody's hand must be on deck. Nigeria is in a dead-end street. I must be very frank to you. So please, let's work together this period to make sure that Nigeria comes to the limelight.
Okay.
Of race nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francis, for sharing your thoughts there.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have yet another call that we will pick. I think we just lost that call right now. Hello. Okay, we just lost that call right now. But he is not comfortable with the fact that it seems like it is a payback time. It's compensation for what the Akpabio had done for the state.
To me, I didn't say it's a compensation, but that is a yardstick that we can look at for somebody coming out to take the position of the Senate President. But definitely he is a member of the party. He has done his part.
The person must have worked hard for...
He has worked hard for the party. And as it is now, just as my brother has said, electioneering has passed. It's the time of governance. And when you are forming a government, there's need for you to look for a competent hand.
Exactly. Which
the president has demonstrated by endorsing this noble candidate, the Senate President and his deputy. And definitely you will see that some people will have a different opinion, but not that they're out of the party. That is what can happen in any political system or political setting. But today we are happy for it. We're happy for it because finally the government, the president thinking and what he wants has already come to pass.
Okay. So how would Senator Akpabio ensure that, I mean, there were 46 members that didn't vote for him. He got more at the end of the day, but we're having about 63, I
63,
think.
Yeah.
63 votes.
And 46 for the
Abdulaziz Yari. And my question would be, how would he put away, is he somebody, you have worked really closely with him, is he somebody who would set aside personal grievance?
No.
Because you're just talking about the fact that politicians will always compensate those who worked hard for him.
No, not at this level. This level as it is today is a period where we had to progress with government of national competence. And as you see the Senate, the Senate of the 10th Assembly, I think we have never seen such a combination of political party in the recent time, because about 8 or 9 different parties produced a senator to the 10th Assembly. So in this instance, we cannot say we are going to play a kind of a sectional National Assembly. And Akpabio, as I know very well, is a man that he carry everybody along. As you can see now, the electioneering at the National Assembly period has put it behind. Senate President has emerged and his deputy has emerged. So, and from his speech, which I always make reference to yesterday, because I watched him closely when he was talking. And he said now that everybody should consider himself as Nigerian, and we are going to work together for the betterment of our country. And he emphasized more on unity, economy, and security. You see, these three,
it seems close to his heart.
Are close to his heart. And he cannot do anything opposite that will vitiate this thing he put before himself. And I'm very, very optimistic that Akpabio and Tinubu are going to outperform our expectation in this government.
Now we have, like you have just said, about 8 political parties within that's the composition of the National Assembly. We have about 8 political parties.
Yeah.
Do you think it will help or mar the success of the legislative?
It will help. Why? Because about 70 of the senators are just coming in newly. They need to settle down and understudy the act of governance at the National Assembly. I know some of them might have some different experiences.
Of course, they had their time now. I mean, they attended the Institute of Legislative Studies and all of that. I'm sure before they wanted to be in the legislative, they must have had a good idea as to what to expect. So we're not giving them the benefit of that. We're expecting them to start working and working immediately.
They will hit the ground running. As from today, if you watch the sitting today, you know that there's something peculiar that we're going to experience about the 10th Assembly.
Exactly. It was interesting to watch.
Quite interesting. Quite interesting. And the leadership style that this uncommon achiever is bringing on board will really percolate into the Nigerians. Because the moment you see that sitting, you see, this is a seat of a renewed hope for Nigeria.
However, I must ask, something happened before just before the elections of the National Assembly leadership. The president had called for a meeting. And after that meeting, we saw some people stepping aside. What do you think happened in that meeting?
Stepping aside because Tinubu is a leader. And when you hear him talking, you cannot do otherwise.
Okay, you cannot do otherwise because he holds something over your head.
Over your head, sure. Because you see hope, you see your expectation will be high. You see that this man is really, he has that passion to deliver this country from the level we find ourselves today.
Right.
I know very well that Buhari has tried his best, but his best may not be enough. But Tinubu is coming
to consolidate those parts.
Those things that Buhari have initiated. And I'm just appealing to Nigerians to just be patient with this government.
Right.
We're going to get it right now, this time around. A lot of things is going for the people. Yes.
So President Bola Tinubu came in very assertive. He came in very strong. Especially with the ending of this fuel subsidy regime. Yes. And you're asking Nigerians to be patient with this government. These are Nigerians at the moment who do not have a cushioning effect from the removal of fuel subsidy. Transportation is life. It is embedded in every facet of life. It affects consumables. It affects everything. How do you think Nigerians should be patient? And if you have to advise the government at the moment in expediting actions in cushioning effect of of this subsidy removal, what would you say? What would you like to see as an APC member, as one who campaigned for the presidency, one who campaigned for the Senate president? What would you tell your people, just so that the suffering is not too much?
Subsidy removal. Yes. If you should be current with former dispensation, political dispensation under President Buhari, you know that the budget was pegged for the payment of subsidy to end by June or July, by June. That is in the first half of 2023. Tinubu is coming on board newly. And the concept of continuity in governance is something that cannot be do away so easily like that. Government has already put a very good policy on ground, because if you look at the history of subsidy payments, it's something that is embedded with a lot of inconsistency, a lot of news that cannot easily be substantiated.
Of course.
And on that point, this is a government that want to put everything in the open for Nigerians. He has no option than to say it at his inaugural ceremony. That
do you think that was a good idea?
Is a perfect idea. Is a perfect idea, because if you should say you should leave it till 1 or 2 weeks before he said it, people would thought he's the one that removed the subsidy. Or people will have a different thinking.
Because the past
But
president
he has to. No,
the
you
past
see,
president had given us some sort of preparation to tell us that it would end at the end of June. A fuel subsidy regime will end at the end of June. From the beginning of July, there will no longer be fuel subsidy.
Joy.
And so Nigerians were beginning to, get to the idea of it. But it was quite abrupt for the 29th of May, that fuel subsidy being removed.
I'm telling you that the level of awareness of that subsidy removal was not really spread. Me and you may know that subsidy will be removed, but people at the grassroots. You see, if you talk of education, is really malady in this nation. People are not well educated, because you look at the statistic, you know what I'm saying, and you know the National Office of the Statistics or something said last time that about 33 million of Nigerians are extremely poor. That is not a good statistic for this country. So from there you know that people don't have information at the right time. So if he didn't do it this way, by announcing it at his inaugural ceremony, people will have a different thinking, as I was telling you, because they're going to say, this man has come again with his own different idea. And it will give a different signal to the populace. And that is why he has to tell us that, yes, this thing has been on ground and I'm going to continue in it. If you look at during his campaign, most of the 3 contenders for the presidential position during their campaign rallies across the country, they made it categorical that they are going to remove subsidy. Because they know that this subsidy removal, this subsidy that their government is paying, is not really helping the masses.
Exactly.
How could you imagine of almost 70% of budget going for subsidy? A budget. It's not really fair for us. So if we had to look at the economy and make the economy make everybody feel the impact of the economy in a positive way, then there's need to take away this subsidy so that the money will be allocated to other sectors of the economy, like infrastructures, like agri, and so on and so forth.
Okay, let's go back to the 10th Assembly. We have run out of time.
Thank you very much.
Now, so if you have to advise them, yes, as your parting words, what would it be? Especially for your principal, Senator Godswill Akpabio.
Your Excellency, Senator Godswill Akpabio, I know what you stand for in this country. God has given you this opportunity to be able to prove some people wrong about you. Because for we that know you, we know that you are going to deliver at the end of the day. I want to tell you that you should stand for what we know you for. Stand for the good of this country. A lot of bills are coming before you.
Okay.
You should ensure that those that are people-oriented should not be delayed.
Okay. Unfortunately, we really have run out of time.
Thank
so, Comrade Shuaibu Muhammed is a political analyst and the Director General Northern Initiative for Promotion of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Thank you for being part of the program.
Thank you, my sister.
This has been
nice being here.
It's a pleasure for me too. This has been Joy Asonye Live, and we've been discussing the 10th Assembly and expectations of Nigeria. We'll be back tomorrow with so much more. Have a wonderful evening.